The fur trade was, as the name suggests, the trade of fur in Canada. The demand for fur hats had gone up, and Russia could not provide them with fur due to them killing most of the beaver population and other animals used to make fur hats. The seek of fur led many explorers to their new world. As news got out, France and England jumped at the chance to conquer the new world to see who could gain more power. The French and the British did not get along during the fur trade, or in general. They sought economic power from the selling of the furs. These bitter rivals had a total of 4 wars they fought. The competition was not only in war but in companies as well. Britain establishes the Hudson's Bay Company. This company was made to rival the French. The King of England gave the Hudson's Bay Company a monopoly for fur in Rupert's Land. The company was very successful and prospered, since the population of Newfoundland was 15,000 to Britain's 250,000, so the French needed help from the First Nations. During the wars between the British and the French, First Nation groups were called to fight with the Warring Nations. The Wendat and the Anishinaabe allied with the French, and the Haudenosaunee with the British. After France defeated the Haudenosaunee, the Wendat and the Anishinaabe acted as middlemen and traders. They would trade their beaver pelts in exchange for European goods such as pots and guns. From the start, the French wanted to be more open to the First Nations than the British. Even after fighting alongside the First Nations, they didn't respect them. Many First Nation groups would be kicked off their land and ridiculed for their culture. As we looked in the book, the festivities that the Haudenosaunee would celebrate would be called Heathenish, which means non-Christian-like. This shows the British didn't respect the First Nations and their culture. After the loss of the Wendat due to the Haudenosaunee, the French asked for people that would travel as middlemen. These men would be voyageurs. Not only the French but also the British enlisted help from foreign men. Scottish men from the Orkney Islands came to modern-day Canada as voyageurs because the islands resembled Rupert's Land. British wanted to focus more on farming, didn't want to interact with the First Nations, didn't want to set up permanent settlements, wanted to move west for farming land. However, the French were mainly focused on the beaver fur, enlisted the help of First Nation groups for Cass wanted to set up permanent settlements as fast as they could and wanted to move west for more fur. The fur trade changed Canada as we know it today. You could argue that the fur trade itself created Canada. First of all, without the fur trade, Canada wouldn't have expanded westward. Due to the lack of fur in the east from mass animal genocide, expanding westward changed two things about Canada: new land and kicking the First Nations off their land. The First Nations in the west, like the Cree, had to move around from their original hunting grounds due to lands being cleared for farming. If they did not leave, they would be kicked off with acts of violence. If we stop looking at bad effects of the fur trade gave incentive for people to come to Canada. These adventurous men and women left everything behind to start a better life. That is why Canada today is so diverse. We have Irish, Scottish, French, English, and a mix of cultures because of the fur trade.